franktalks.com.
Hi, you're listening to CINQ 102.3 FM Radio Centreville. We're here for you.
The opinions and comments expressed are those of the host and participants and not necessarily the opinion of CINQ FM 102.3. Legal dossiers are complicated. Westmount Legal Clinic advises that you consult a lawyer. Legal cases cannot be resolved without a professional.
You're listening to Know Your Rights Legal Show on CINQ 102.3 FM, cable 88.3 in Montreal, www.radiocentreville.com. My name is Ted Red. I'm coordinator of Westmount Legal Clinic, and this is Know Your Rights Legal Show. And today in studio we have two people. We have Bernard Corbeil. Corbeil? Or is it Corbeil or Corbeil?
Corbeil.
I wrote it wrong here. Right. And he's a lawyer, and he's going to be discussing Quebec societal mores following a recent court decision that confirms there are changes in society. Our segment producer today is Frank, and Chris Smith is here, but he's in a meeting. He will be here shortly. Bernard, we're going to talk about today the sexual mores of society. Now, we know that things change, things stay the same, but recently a Quebec decision came down that said it's okay in a certain place to have consensual interaction with the person of your choice. What do you want to say about that? What were the laws before?
Okay, the law, there's no law forbidding lifestyle swinging in Canada. What is illegal is the common body house, and the criteria is to know if the sex occurred in private or in public. And the judgment you're talking about indicate that clearly, black and white, that swinging or swing club are legal as long as sex occurred in private. So we have to decide what is private or not. And so now we have a judgment stating that it is legal. Previously, the abortion was illegal. They legalized it. Mm-hmm. Homosexuality was a crime. Okay, a few years ago, if you were a gay people, you were a criminal. And same thing for the gambling. It was illegal. Okay, they have to change all the law, but there's no law forbidding swinging, so now they don't have to change.
Before we go too far, Chris, come in. Don't wait. Chris has just come back from the meeting, and he didn't want to come in while we were on air, but it doesn't matter. We're here. Now, one of the things I'd like you to do before we go any further, like you're talking legal things, can you give us a background of your legal affairs, like what you've done? When did you start to be a lawyer?
Oh, yes. I became a lawyer in '74, and I did work in a law firm of 50 lawyers for 25 years. Mm-hmm. And I was doing insurance, civil liability, professional liability, criminal as well. And I was involved in the 5 bars and clubs as a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that it's very important because it is the fundamental right of freedom to associate with somebody you want to share something because you have a common interest. So if you're collecting the stamps, or you're collecting the butterflies, or you're collecting the caresses, you have a common interest to share with somebody.
Yes. Now, okay. Chris has just gotten here, and what we've just discovered is that there is no law against lifestyle choices that you make in Canada. Right. What Monsieur Corbeil says, Maître Corbeil said that there is laws against.
It was before it was abortion. It was against gambling and also against homosexuality, and they had to change the criminal.
And what about a maison de débauche? What kind of laws exist that way?
So the
common body house.
Common body house, okay, and the common body house is a place where you have prostitution or act of indecency. But the law doesn't give a definition of what is act of indecency.
So an act of indecency is against the law, but there's no definition of what it is.
That's right. And the Supreme Court of Canada established the rule. And because it's a very special accusation, because it's not like a murder. A murder is always a murder, okay? Mm-hmm. But what is an act of indecency? The Supreme Court of Canada decide that it depends of what is tolerated in the contemporary Canadian society.
So what you're saying is that the act of indecency is what is not tolerated by the society.
Yes, by the Canadian contemporary society.
And so that means that it can change.
it can change all the time. Like if you remember, like I think it's in 1967, you had the black woman who came from Africa who danced with bare breast at the Place des Arts, and they has been bus, and they has been charged of criminal act like indecency, and because the police at that time said what is moving is illegal, and the Supreme Court said no, that's not what the police believe. It's what the society tolerate, that
yes,
is just legal or not.
Chris, you wanted to say something?
Well, I just had a question pertaining to this topic. Where does the Quebec Charter of Rights come in, or does it play a factor at all?
Yes, the Charter of Rights is fundamental, because if, as the Supreme Court said, that a woman, for the dance contact, okay,
yes.
The Supreme Court said that a woman can dance naked in a bar where they sell alcoholic beverage,
right.
to be touched to her breasts, to her butts, and get paid $10 for.
Right.
Okay, so, and it says it's not a common body house because it is tolerated by the Canadian society. Okay, maybe it's not moral, maybe you don't like it, maybe you don't want to do it, but you don't mind that other people can do it. And my principle is, if a woman can be paid for that, I believe that the woman who wants to do it for free has the same fundamental rights. And if she has a rights to do it, she needs a place to do it, because if you have a right and no place to use the rights, it doesn't make sense.
So in other words, what you're saying is that a person who wants to do something for free, before that they were saying you don't have the right, even though that they said it's only against the law if you pay for it.
No, it's more complicated than that, because the judgment you mentioned said even that even if in swing club you got money, as long as money is not for sex,
that's right,
you can even make profit. Okay, that's mean now we have a judgment stating that you can have the right to have a place as long as you respect some conditions. Okay, and that judgment, what happened, that there was no such condition. There was no membership card, there was no form to sign, anybody can go in, anybody just said that I'm 18 years old, and they can go there, and they had sex everywhere.
Yeah,
and the judge said it's not swinging.
Yeah, one of the police officers just said he went there and there was just walked in.
That's right. Okay, so that's now the big difference with the judgment. Now we have a judgment stating that yes, it is legal. So he's confirmed what I always said, that there was no law forbidding that. But now we have a judgment stating it. Okay.
Now, this is your third time you've been on Radio Centreville, right?
Yes, I've been here, and I'm very proud to be here, because I think that's a very interesting topic. And it was for the St. Valentine's Day on Friday the 13th on the community radio here. I was here, and I talk about it because
so let me just get this straight. This is like funny. Yeah. For Valentine's Day, they asked you to come in and talk about swinging.
Yes.
Okay.
And I will tell you why. It's because, people need love, and people confuse love and sex. And they wonder how come swingers can be in love and share sex with other people, mainly on St. Valentine's Day. But swinging is not a love affair. It's a recreational sex. When a couple want to share something, it is an experience. Instead of cheating on each other, okay, they prepare to be honest, and it is by respect. And it is the fundamental basis of swinging.
Okay, now, I have to stop you. We're going to go to music now. And remember, rock and roll is a reference to sex. So we're going to play a song. Go ahead, Marcia.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the book, I'm a Man, That's My Job, The Philosophy of a Seducer. What is inner game? There's a lot of contradictory information out there, and one size does not fit all. Your inner game is as unique and personal as your signature or your fingerprints. This book provides you with the means to create your own seduction persona. This is a workbook, which means we will work together, and by the end, you will have developed your own personal inner game. By this, learn what it means to be a man, and what the role of the modern man in today's society is that will attract him to the woman he wants. Learn about how men and women think differently, and how to take the lead in a relationship. This book is for you at franktalks.com. From Loser to Seducer is the story of Frank B. Kerman. This book marks the triumph of a nice guy over most of his inner demons. This includes going from being a loser to managing 5 lovers at the same time, his his first Valentine's date with 2 women at the same time, and getting back the one that got away. Want to learn how you can change your life? Buy this book at franktalks.com.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. Ladies, do you want the man in your life to understand you on your level? Do you want your man to be able to listen to and address all of your emotional needs? Show him how much you really want your relationship to be the best it can be. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test makes the perfect gift. The book, written by a man, for men, is endorsed by every woman that reads it. This book is a guide for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
Know Your Rights Legal Show on CINQ 102.3 FM. My name is Ted Wright. I'm your host.
I'm Chris Smith, your co-host.
Frankly, segment producer.
And our guest today is lawyer Bernard Corbeil, and we're talking about Quebec societal mores and how they change, and échangisme, swinging, etc., etc. Now, Franco, you said you had a question here.
Absolutely. We've already discussed how swinging into itself is legal.
Yes.
But I think that there's also a misperception of swinging for people who have not been exposed to it. So I'd like to ask you, sir, when a couple goes to a swing club, just because that it's not illegal, it is legal, does that mean that anything's expected of this couple when they walk in? Are they obligated to have sex with people? And if they, let's say, choose that, they go there for a particular thing, but they don't want to experience everything, what laws protect them? I'm very curious about that.
Yes, you have to understand that the basis of the of swinging is respect. So you have no obligation to do whatever you don't want to do, and it is very important, mainly for the woman, because usually that the women who are scared about to get involved in lifestyle. And as I mentioned, when I came on the community radio on February 13, because it was the St. Valentine's Day, it was the concern about the woman, and people have to understand that everybody believes that swinging is a guy's matter, but it's a woman matter more than a man matters. It surprised everybody when I say that, but I can tell you that for the last 3 years I met with more than 13,000 new members, okay, who are swingers, who became members for the last 3 years at La Rage Club, okay. And so I talk with people, I ask questions, I met almost everybody on the 13,000 people, so I can talk about it based on what I know from the people, and mainly from the woman, and it's very respectful for the woman. Usually it's the man who dreams about have two women, and then he talk about it with his partner, and surprisingly enough, women are very receptive, even if it's surprising for them. It creates a lot of communication in the couple. It gets them closer because it's something they want to share instead of cheating. And then they go together, and about 90 to 95% of the women in lifestyle are be curious or bisexual. They want to try what a woman is, and then that's how they start. But after a woman discover that when she goes in a swing club and she has experience with other people, she realized that she still love is her partner, but she could have sex with other person and come back with her partner. And very, very often it's the woman who wants to come back in lifestyle. It's very surprising. It's because she realized it is very respectful. And then, you know, I will give you the typical situation. Very often, I see that every weekend at the club. You know, guy said, "Okay, you're so beautiful," and the woman said, "Oh, you say that because you love me." But when they come to the club and they see that they have all the women who want to touch their breasts or kiss them or to touch them, and they see all the guy around them that they are excited by her, then she realized that even she got kids, she doesn't have the same body as she had 20 years before or 15 years before. Then she realized that she is still very attractive, and this is a very big boost for the woman. That's a revelation for them. It's very interesting, and that's why they want to come back, because they realize that it's very respectful and it's very boosting for them.
Okay, now I'd like to ask a question about, it says on paragraph 9, it says, le local comprenait deux principales zones. The area or the place where things happen comprises two principal zones. Now, did the court rule on where you get in there, how you get in there, who is able to get in? What did the law and the court decision say about that?
Okay, the decision says that we got objective and scientific evidence through a survey establishing that the Canadian Contemporary Society is tolerating swinging as long...
Now you're saying Canadian Contemporary Society, that means society right now.
Yes, right now.
This decision was July 2003, I believe.
Yes, the 4th of July. Now in Canada, 4th of July is a very important day, not only in States, okay? And the judgment says that now that the court has the evidence that across the country, okay, almost 60% of the population and across the country doesn't bother that if other people do that, as long as they don't disturb other people who don't want to get involved.
Okay, now we have a crop opinion poll here right in front of us. So what Maître Corbeil just said is that this became a legal part of the proof, and that 60% of Canadians across the country swinging, changing partners does not bother them at all, and this court decision supports that.
Yes.
And this became part of the legal document. Was there anything you'd like to quote from this document? Because there's many pages here, and
yes. Okay.
And this is part of the proof that made the decision.
Yes.
What page are we on?
You're on page 17. You have several. We had several questions. Okay, we asked the people to know not only do you agree with it, do you bother or you don't bother. There were several questions, and we have to see all of the questions. One of the questions, which was very, very important, it says that as long as they don't bother anybody, consenting adult could have the freedom and sexual life or style as they wish. And 90% of the people who answer in Quebec says yes, people can do whatever they want, and across the country is 78%.
Now let me just say this again, so people, we've got a court document here, and the court decision upholds the fact that 90% plus people in Quebec say that you can have whatever sexual life you want. In Canada, it's 78% that say that. So what we're saying here with the court decision that says that the majority of Canadians under law now find it okay that you can have your own sexual life in the way that you wish.
And when you go to the next question, it concerns the swinging. Okay, so the result for sex only, for lifestyle as you wish, in Quebec is 90%, and for lifestyle is 76%, and for the country is 64%. So as you can see, there's a large majority who say, according to the request of the Supreme Court, we are not interested to do, but we don't mind that other people do that, and that's what is the legal aspect.
Okay, now we have to take another break.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. Ladies, do you want the man in your life to understand you on your level? Do you want your man to be able to listen to and address all of your emotional needs? Show him how much you really want your relationship to be the best it can be. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test makes a perfect gift. The book, written by a man, for men, is endorsed by every woman that reads it. This book is a guide for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the book I'm a Man, That's My Job, The Philosophy of a Seducer. What is inner game? There's a lot of contradictory information out there, and one size does not fit all. Your inner game is as unique and personal as your signature or your fingerprints. This book provides you with the means to create your own seduction persona. This is a workbook, which means we will work together, and by the end, you will have developed your own personal inner game. By this, Learn what it means to be a man and what the role of the modern man in today's society is that will attract him to the woman he wants. Learn about how men and women think differently and how to take the lead in a relationship. This book is for you at franktalks.com.
I'm Chris Smith for Priscilla's Corner this week. On the topic this week is swingers. My point of view, sex is a way of life. Montrealers out of any citizen should know that in this city at least, it is an art. The swingers scene has been a part of Montreal nightlife for over 30 years. The Quebec court on July of 2003 formally recognized this and has decided to support and protect those who wish to practice this specific lifestyle. Prior to this, police have taken matters into their own hands and governed an ethics squad by applying, quote, societal morals as they saw fit. I feel that if the Quebec court allows it, then Quebec police officers will respect it. If these practitioners of swinging choose to take part in sexual acts behind closed doors, it is their right. Although it is an acquired taste, there is still a large enough demographic to support this activity. I'd like to think that society as a whole has matured to the point where this practice is condoned, yet not embraced to where it becomes a fad or overly publicized so not to expose minors. There is a time and a place for almost everything. If we allow our personal rights to be invaded by Big Brother beliefs, there is not much room left for privacy. It is bad enough video surveillance is already on the table, where a constant eye is set to govern with an iron curtain in a post-paranoid McCarthyist era. Becoming a more sensitive society seems to be the trend and a reliable source for sensationalism. What's next? Restroom identification cards? How we choose to pursue our sexual preferences is entirely subjective and individualistic. I'm Christopher Smith for this week's Priscilla's Corner.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. Ladies, do you want the man in your life to understand you on your level? Do you want your man to be able to listen to and address all of your emotional needs? Show him how much you really want your relationship to be the best it can be. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test makes a perfect gift. The book, written by a man, for men, is endorsed by every woman that reads it. This book is a guide for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
And we're back on Know Your Rights Legal Show on CINQ 102.3 FM. My name is Ted Wright. I'm coordinator of Westmount Legal Clinic, and I'm your host.
I'm Chris Smith, co-host.
Frank B., segment producer.
And we have lawyer Bernard Corbeil, who is discussing the legal aspects of these laws, swingers laws, personal freedom and interaction. Bernard, you had something else you wanted to add here.
Yes, Chris just mentioned something very interesting about minors, people, and you have to understand that there's a definition, a definition in that survey that you have to understand why people are tolerating. Is always between adults of legal age who are consenting, who know that where they are, and they are there for explicit sexual activity and group in a business place, recognized for that and reserved for that, and those activities cannot be seen by the public. And that is the type of swinging which is tolerated, okay? Mm-hmm. No prostitution. You know, not a way to like show that we say that we are a swing club, and it's not a real swing club. It's the mob things, or it's the mafia, or it's the prostitution. These guys, that is not tolerated. Okay, so it's very important to understand that there's a specific definition of lifestyle. Also, in the survey, you have two very interesting points.
Can you tell us the page you're?
Yes, page 10. Yes, page 10 of the survey, where you can see that. It's talk about the 87% of the population. That means that almost 15% of the people say that we are not swinging, we're not swingers, but we would like to visit a club, a swing club. That means that in Montreal area, for example, if we are close to 2 million or 3 million people with the South Shore and the North Shore, that on those 2 or 3 million people, you have 15%, that means maybe 3 or 4,000 people who would like to visit a club because they would like to know what it is, okay? Even if they're not practicing,
Okay, let me just say this so people understand what you're talking about. 87%, this is from a court document, 87% of the people in Quebec, according to the survey, or Canada, said, we don't want to go there personally, but it can exist. And more than 6 out of 10 said they don't mind if other people do it. 64%, go ahead, do what you want. 87% said we're not going to go, but go ahead and do what you want. Well, and this is part of the proof.
Yes, and if 87% do not want to visit a club, that means that almost 15 wants to visit if they are not swingers. So that means that it's something now very common to, and people are not shy to do that. And the other thing, very important, is at page 18 as well.
Okay.
And at page 18, we show you how important the media are and that evolution in the society. Because at the page 18, if you look at the people who have knowledge of what a swing club.
Now, which number? This is 4B, 4E.
That's the 4A, okay, and the 4C. As you can see, if people know a club, know what swinging is, they are more tolerating. That means more people know about it, less they are scared, and more they understand what it is. And then that's why the tolerance increased up to 83% and to 70%.
How much time?
And they are the same thing.
Okay, we've run out of time, and we've got all these court documents. We got much more. You can start the theme song in the background if that's what you need, Marcia. How much time do we have left? Well, there we are. That means we're pretty much out. So, what essentially has come down is that people can do what they want. Franco, you wanted to say something?
Bernard, yes. Is there a website where people can get access to these legal documents?
Yes, you can go on Orage Club, ORAGECLUB.com. You have a summary of the judgment, and you can even get the full 222 paragraph, 52 pages judgment. Just write to us at info@orageclub.com, and we will provide you with the untitled, the complete judgment.
We've got that here, so it's www.orageclub.com, and you can get that. Now, if you'd like to contact the legal clinic, it's westmountlegalclinic@hotmail.com. Fax is 514-277-8403, 514-277-8403, or email ted5fm@hotmail.com. We are almost out of time. This is Know Your Rights Legal Show. 5 words. Bernard, do you want to say 5 more words?
Yes. Remember that lifestyle is something very respectful, and try it and you will adopt it.
Okay. Thank you very much for everybody here. Know Your Rights Legal Show. We'll be back next week.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. Ladies, do you want the man in your life to understand you on your level? Do you want your man to be able to listen to and address all of your emotional needs? Show him how much you really want your relationship to be the best it can be. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test makes the perfect gift. The book, written by a man, for men, is endorsed by every woman that reads it. This book is a guide for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
If you need help with your relationships, my buddy Frank, he's got some tips. Just go to franktalks.com. His advice is better than your mom's. He knows what you're going through, Frank has been there too. So log on to franktalks.com, franktalks.com.
Need help with love, sex, dating, or relationship issues? Help from Frank Kermit, the best-selling author and Canada's most international relationship coach, is only a click away at franktalks.com. What do you do when you feel like a fool? When your heart has been broken again? Pick up the phone or get onto Skype and talk on a private session. Yeah, get a little help from Frank Talks. Whoa, whoa, get by with a little help from Frank Talks. You gotta try a little help from Frank Talks. What do you do when your love goes away? Try coaching one-on-one. How do I sign up to turn things around? Just sign up at franktalks.com. Yeah, get by with help from Frank Talks. I get by with a little help from Frank Talks. Time to try a little help from Frank Talks. Doesn't cost a lot of money. It's the best rate going around. But it costs a lot of money. Oh, it's worth every cent that you will put down. Yeah. Frank Talks.com. Oh, you got to go to get your help from Frank Talks.com. Yeah, yeah. Would you believe that Frank gets results? Yes, we're certain. Just read the reviews. Frank knows his stuff, and Frank's got real goods. Good love can soon come to you.